I've been working on that all my life. And we are back. Here I am, Fly Navarro. And today I am with the living legend, Bruce Blevins. Bruce, long time no
Good
chat.
morning,
Listen,
Flan.
I wanted to talk to you about all your salt and pepper is all fucking salt now, man.
It's all salt now. It's all salt. So have
Man,
some teenage daughters who go put some gray in your beard.
bro. Ain't that the truth? I actually, it's funny you said it. I don't have any children. I have a friend of mine. He just decided to become a dad at 50. So he's got a 4-year-old and a 15-month-old. The 15-month-old is a little girl.
That's
And
awesome.
I've got some shotguns that are being delivered from out of state. And I'm going to go pick them up today. And I told him, I said, how many you want? You want one or two?
Here, 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 here. That's,
So, how the hell are you, Bruce?
I'm good, man.
Introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do, and then we can make fun of the fact that you didn't want to come on here and I wanted you on here.
Bruce Blevins, living the life in Golfito, Costa Rica, and I went from driving a boat to driving a desk quite a few years ago, and life is good, man. Life is good. BB SEAS, we mostly work as yacht agency, focusing primarily on the sport fishing boats coming through, and try and make the paperwork easy. So
And honestly, that right there is why I wanted you on here. That is right. I remember when I first reached out to you, you're like, man, why the fuck you want me? And I'm like, no, because so many of us that have gone through the canal and transited and gone up, especially now with the amount of boats that are going up to Los Sueños and Capos, there are so many people in our industry that interact with you or some part of you. And I think it's really important on a couple of things. Number one, like for me per se, I was interacting with you in the late 90s and early 2000s. So we're talking 25 years ago. So
yes,
that
sir.
allowed me to get caught up with you, to get you on here and shoot the shit and see what's going on in Golfito. And there's a lot of guys that were down there in the 80s and 90s that maybe haven't talked to you. And I wanted to bring you on for those guys. But the other thing I wanted that I tried to do, because I've had a few boat builders on and mechanics, I really want to highlight not just the fishermen, but the people that support the fishermen, the people that make our life easy. And it's important for me. Every day I walk into a room, I look around, I'm like, okay, which one of these guys or girls is going to replace me? I'm always looking for my replacement. And it's important um, as a steward of the industry to say, hey guys, maybe you don't want to be away from home 200 days a year fishing, but there's still jobs that you can do that can help support this industry. And for me, that was a very big deal. And one of the reasons why I was pushing you so hard to get on here, because I wanted to highlight that. And then you can also tell the stories of Golfito, which to me, in my 34 years of traveling, I still have voted as the fucking hottest place in the world. Uh, Second place is hell. First place,
Uh,
Golfito. That place is a vacuum on fucking breeze, and it is hot.
we have two climates, and it's hot and wet, and that's about it. And I swear, I don't know. Everybody can call me as crazy as you want. It's hotter at low tide when 10 foot of water
Oh,
drops off and the breeze falls out. It's much
I,
hotter at low tide.
100%. I agree with you 100%. Well, first of all, Golfito is like a little bowl. You got this giant mountain behind you. You're at the very back and back end of the bay. So there's no wind coming over that mountain.
It's great protection for the yachts when they're tied to the dock, but yeah, it can lack a sea breeze in here. quite often. You don't have to go far to get one, but a lot of times right on the waterfront, it's extremely still. So,
I remember back in the day because we tied the reel tide up there, I think 3 seasons, because it was so quiet. It was not. Jim went to Los Sueños once. He goes, I don't like this place. Too many people.
mhm.
So we'd go to Golfito and we'd just leave out of there and we'd be out for 17, 18 days. It was great.
Yeah.
But it was fucking hot. So I would get up and I'd start working at like 5, and by 10:30, 11, I'm done.
Yeah. I don't care who you are or where you're from, but this place will give you getting up in the morning. You're going to be madrugador. You're going to get up in the morning and you finish early. And the rains dictate it. Happy hour can dictate it for some, but it's pretty funny. You get your early start. And you wrap it up early, especially during the rainy season.
Oh. So when was the first time you made it to Golfito?
To Golfito, I drove a Jeep down to from South Florida to Costa Rica. I drove a CJ7 down here in 1993.
Fuck.
And then I came back in the Hatteras in 1995. When I made the Jeep trip, I went everywhere but Golfito. I was on the other side of the Gulf here, over
Okay.
in Puerto Jimenez and the Osa Peninsula. But I came back to Golfito in 1995, and the Hatteras was my first stop here.
Wow.
And
Wow.
we had a great season. I mean, even I could catch fish here. And so we had a good season and came back the following year. And there was kind of a vacuum of services and facilities. You had the one little spot called, I think it was Eagles Roost that Bob Hampton had back in the day. We tied up there. And
Okay.
the mate I had on the boat was actually from Golfito. Uh, Fernando Sandi was working on the boat then, and he was actually from Golfito. So we hung out here and went up and down the coast and did the rest of Costa Rica, Flamingo, and Carrillo, and anchoring out different spots and drakes. But there wasn't a whole lot to be. Wasn't There's not a lot here now, and there wasn't a whole lot then. So
Well, my question, so you were working at Banana Bay when I was there,
yes.
and is it still there?
Well, it's still there.
It-
I
wh-
sold the when we got into Golfito, I think the second season, I kept looking around saying, man, this would be a good place to open a marina with some services. And I think I said it enough times that the owner of the boat finally said, you either need to shut up or do something about it. And I'm not really good at shutting up, so we ended up doing a sweat equity program
Oh, sure.
and did Banana Bay from a there was a small facility there with the guy's house, and we kind of grew what was existing there in the way of docks and pilings into Banana Bay. And I think we started in the 96, 97 season.
Okay.
And so I was basically I guaranteed him I'd do 10 years, and he kept the Hatteras for most of that time. So we'd fish some and we'd grow the marina some and had a good time. It was a different place and a different time, but I think a lot of the locals say I think we we used to spill more beer and booze than they sell now, but
That's okay. There's
but
nothing
it
wrong
was
with that.
yeah, it's just changed. It's kind of funny, and the demographics of where the fleet's at has changed, and the whole fad fishery scenario has kind of changed the area a little bit. But yeah, we basically kind of 97 to 2005. I sold out, paid off my partner, and kept running it for the guy I sold it to for a while.
Okay.
So
So it's still is it still called Banana Bay?
it's still Banana Bay Marina is still there. You have Fishhook Marina next to it, which and where I'm sitting now, and then the new marina, Marina Bay Golfito, the larger facility at the other end of the bay are still the three main
Okay.
facilities in Golfito.
That's I'm trying to what it was Gus.
Gus Wentz and Fred
Yeah.
Thurston. Yep, I talked to Gus
Yeah.
the other day.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
I haven't talked to Gus in probably 20 years.
I talked to him the other day. He's hanging in there. He wouldn't tell you that he's having any troubles on the phone, but he sounds great. But as we all know, aging is aging. So
Yeah, man. Father Time doesn't shut down for anybody. Father
yes,
Time
sir.
doesn't shut down for anybody. Yeah, next time you talk to him, please tell him I said hello. He was a
Will
good
do.
dude. He made a couple trips with us on the real type.
Yeah.
So
Solid guy, prince of a man.
what
So
so being that the marina is called Banana Bay, Could you let, for people that aren't familiar with Golfito, what put Golfito on the map?
Well, it was interesting. Golfito was a banana company. It was a company town, lock, stock, and barrel for United Fruit or Chiquita Banana brands under United Fruit. And long before I arrived, but yeah, the train. There was actually no road to Golfito back in the early days of the banana company. There was just a local train out to the plantations and back, and it was a company town. And when they pulled out, it was pretty tough because there wasn't a whole lot else in Golfito. And so it had a lot of history as the proverbial banana republic. And when we actually started negotiating on the facility for the marina, a lot of it was already painted yellow. And so I thought that would be an easy way to kind of honor the past and not have to repaint a lot. So that was where the name Banana Bay came for the marina because of the history of Golfito being a banana port.
That, it's so funny because that's what I've always known Golfito known for the bananas.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was a Chiquita banana spot, and it has the old docks. Well, it had. I don't know if those
They're
still,
still there. Yeah.
are they still there? Those were some of the biggest wooden docks I'd ever seen in my life.
They're concrete and steel now and still kind of in need a little bit of a repair under the water line, but they're still there. They generally export palm oil. Most of what used to be banana here is now in African palm oil for the vegetable oil, and that's what they.
Really? Very interesting. Very interesting. Now Golfito has become very popular in the last probably 20, but definitely in the last 10 years as the drop-off location for all the boats coming from Florida uh, to Costa Rica or to the West Coast.
It's definitely it's kind of interesting. One of our clients and friends back in the day actually insisted on his behest. He made me an appointment to go to the Dockwise office on 17th Street and made an appointment with those to fly in and tell them that Golfito was their next Pacific port. And Los Sueños was just under construction and coming online. And so I had a meeting with DYT back then, and and came in, and they're kind of like, "Who the hell are you? And where is Golfito?" And they 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 put it on the calendar, kind of, I think, is just as a feeler. And I think in the first two seasons, it became overwhelmingly successful. And other shipping companies besides DYT, uh, Seven Star was coming through, and Yacht Path back in the day did a bunch of trips, but it's just become the conditions are so, as you mentioned, it's still and calm. There's no breeze, so it's perfect conditions without surge or swell for the yacht transports to load and
Yeah, that's
unload safely.
for me, that was like it was a no-brainer. You don't have to tie up anywhere. Just anchor up right in the bay and it's flat calm.
Yeah, it's pretty protected, and that's one of the reasons why I thought it'd be a great spot to do a marina project, is because almost everywhere else in the world you end up with the wave attenuation or the seawalls and breakwaters as is more than half your cost. And Golfito is just a natural harbor that's hard to beat.
It's a natural 27-mile harbor. That, back in the day, that was the biggest reason why we would stay out all of the entire time Jim was out of town or was in town because he's like, I don't want to have to run 27 miles every day and then go offshore.
Hmm. Well,
So,
that's not quite accurate. I remember the miles. It's only about 16 to the mouth of the Gulf, but it's kind of interesting because in the course of where the fish are, it's not that different of a run from what the same guys are doing out of Capos and Los Sueños during the season, depending on where the bite's at. By the time it's all done, it's about the same anymore.
listen,
But it's a long
he
stretch down the
he
Gulf.
he was happy staying out at night and we didn't care either. It was nice for us. We could just keep fishing until okay, let's shut down. And you shut down and you didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about the weather at night, especially that time of year. It wasn't rainy. Weather was always nice. And I kind of wish all the fad fishing was happening back in the day. He would have loved that.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's become a big controversy recently, and a lot of question marks on what that's going to be like in the future. but it sure makes for some interesting trips for a lot of folks.
So, and again, I don't want to put you in a political pickle. So, for the people that aren't aware of it, could you just break down the basic, or as in depth as you want, as the question marks behind the fad fishing?
Basically, it's been pretty interesting here for a long stretch, and I've got mixed feelings about fads as it is. I'm as passionate about blue marlin as a lot of people. I want to catch one, and if I'm not catching them somewhere else, am I going to go to where they are? Yes. But my favorite part of the blue marlin is the hunt. So there's a fact of the fads. I'd rather go find one than drive over to the fad and wait for them.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's been a huge fishery and a huge economic plus for a lot of guys here, especially in the off season. There are a lot of families that, make a living from this industry and all different aspects of it. And having that off season fishery outside of the tournament season for sailfish and everything else has been great. And it started in the early years with a couple of the clients that we know here when the Typhoon program was putting out some early ones, and before that, and quite a few people after them. And it's pretty amazing when it first started to see guys were going out and just seeing blues, and you couldn't even talk about it. It was so absurd, the numbers that we're seeing when the first couple fads went out. It was catching blue ones in sailfish numbers, and it was pretty interesting. And you have the aspect of it became problematic over time with the commercial guys locating them as well. And even though the sport boats still, recently talked to a couple of guys actually yesterday, don't know of a game boat or a sport fish boat killing a marlin in any time recently intentionally. It just doesn't happen. And but the commercial guys are still viable to take what they want in the way of the billfish here. And so the fads have their negativity of the commercial guys locating them and fishing them. But so the government, with some assistance or some insistence from probably good intentioned individuals, but lacking enough information to really make it valid, has decided that fishing them and placing fads is illegal, and don't understand what they're going to do about enforcement or the repercussions or fines. And there's not a lot of details on how that will play out, but apparently they're going to say that fads are not welcome in Costa Rica as opposed to a lot of other places where the government actually or states actually regulate them and deploy them.
yeah. It's funny because I right before we got on, I was talking to somebody about fads in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of places that the government pays for because it gives people a place to go. And, uh, I never realized how controversial it was until just recently. Me personally, I've never had a stance, a positive or a negative stance about it one way or another. I just always had this giant question mark. Is anybody doing any studies or plan on doing any studies if this changes fish's migratory patterns?
Mm-hmm.
That's my only question. Because most
Yeah.
of the time when you see fad fish, they're little fish. And if they're little fish, are you making them healthier by a good food supply? And then they go off on their merry way around the world, navigating the way they navigate? Or are they missing timing for um, a spawning cycle?
Mm-hmm.
I,
I don't think
again,
that information's nobody's done the study or the information's not being
no.
gathered.
And that's my only stance. I, whatever, I see online people complain, oh, that's not real fishing. I don't know. A blue marlin's a blue marlin to me, man.
Yes, indeed.
If listen, it's been cut out of here as a meme more than once. If I had to shit a chicken out of my ass to catch a blue marlin, I'd fucking shit a chicken out of my ass. So it is what it is, man. I want to catch a blue marlin, so I'm not going to tell somebody, well, that blue marlin don't count. No, it fucking counts, man. You know?
Yes.
So I am very curious on how they think they're going to enforce it because unlike a lot of other places, your guys' fads are below the surface.
Yes.
So what are you going to do? Oh, we know
It's kind
there's one down there and you went and buy it. I didn't know there was one down there.
yeah. Didn't know there was one down there. How, where, when, and that's I have to say, I mean, I love this country, so I love to complain about it as much as the next guy. But that's Costa Rica loves to solve problems with paper. Every time that there's a an accident in the with one of the small boats around here, they pass some more paper laws to patch the boat with, and you go on. And it's unfortunate, but I don't think a lot of foresight's been thought into the or put into the enforcement or management of the fat at all. Just no is the easiest reaction.
What about, and I've got tons of pictures, and it's very sad to see during sailfish season when you're watching these longline guys clean out the sailfish population. I've got pictures of sailfish heads flying off these boats like crazy, and it's like, hey man, that fish is maybe worth $25 to you wholesale on the hoof, but
Mhm.
I'm looking at, you know, probably $800 million in boats that are guzzling, they're gobbling up fuel and food and dockage and
There were
jobs and
so much more alive. I mean, it's all been, we know what it is, what the industry's worth to this country has now been documented as well. We're pretty big portion of the GDP overall, but it's tough to see where you can't even get a permit. I have a number of clients that don't come here anymore who basically they fish world records.
well,
They're fishing light tackle records and or for your July event, it's not going to necessarily be the spot that you're coming to fish, but we don't have kill tournaments at all anymore. It's not acceptable, and a record's not going to be acceptable. Where you would think in a place where they're killing them by the ton or the metric ton commercially, that you might be able to buy a tag or buy a ticket to harvest a fish
yeah.
if you get the one on 6 pound that you're looking for. And but a lot of the guys that used to come, I mean, the Dean on the Blue Dog and Enrico and Stacy, a lot of people who just focus on light tackle record or records aren't going to be fishing here for the billfish because you can't take one. And it's tough to try and explain that to a client when there's pickup truckloads full of carcasses in the parking lot next door. So
That's the hypocrisy, man. I
yes, sir.
I get it. You don't want to fish harvested in your country. Respect
Mhm.
it all day long. But it's okay for the commercial guy to do it. And there was a time there was like a 2 or 3 year period when I first took over the World Cup. I would have some people out of Costa Rica. I'm like, listen, if you want me to fly down, I'm happy to go talk to somebody. I've
Mhm.
talked to people all over the world, and it seems like every third year, somebody from Madeira calls up, hey, we need a letter. Okay. Canaries is just the opposite. Like every third or fourth year, they'll give them the paperwork, but their argument is we have no quota. And it's like, hold on a second. You have quota for commercial guys, but you don't have commercial for rec guys. How about just one fish?
Mhm.
One fish. Yeah, that's not even a metric ton.
Yep.
A metric ton would be 4 fish, give or take. Um, you put aside 1 metric ton, and if it doesn't get used after 4th of July, you kick it back into the commercial guys. But no,
It's tough. It's tough. A lot of the fisheries here, and there's a lot of politics involved with it, but Inco Pesca is basically commercially sponsored, commercially leaning entity, and it's very tough to get that voice. There's a bunch of people who have done well with conservation here and a lot of great progress, but it's still tough where Inco Pesca has its focus primarily on the commercial interest and will be that way for a while. So
well,
it's
that's just
slowly changing, but
to me,
it's tough.
that's just a shame.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, here recently in fisheries here in the United States, uh, I've been doing a lot of politicking for the commercial guys. And
Yeah.
not because they pay me or anything. It's just I'm starting to see the environmentalists push us all out.
Yes.
And the first persons they went after were the commercial guys. And then now they're going after us rec guys. And it's
Hmm.
like, listen, I'm a conservationist. I'm not an environmentalist.
Exactly. I watch your podcast and I know that 100%. And I remember even going back to back to Southwest Florida in Boca Grande, the Guides Association did such a good job of protecting the grass flats in Bull Bay and Turtle Bay for the backcountry fishing that they got that protected no motor zone, trolling motors only and polling only. And the environmentalists use the exact same studies to come back after them and try and get it closed to fishing completely. And they almost lost that fishery in that backcountry after all the effort put into conserve it. So
Yeah,
it's a fine line, but the environmentalists are dangerous a lot of times
they're
to the sport.
so dangerous. I actually somebody they're working on a new bill here. It's HB 3831, House Bill 3831, where they're trying to make it illegal for shark feeding inside of 200 miles. And um, I've been tagged in a bunch of stuff online, and hey, come on my podcast. Let's talk about it, you know? And somebody called me up on Sunday. A friend of mine called me up, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm watching you have these discussions online." I said, "Well, I don't go out looking for them. I get tagged in them, and then I say something, then I get attacked." And I I don't like having, first of all, I don't like having fights. That's not my deal. Even people that I bring on the podcast, I just want to have a conversation. I want to have a good chat. Let's talk. Tell me how you feel. Tell me why you feel that way. I'll tell you why I feel my way. And listen, it boils down to the fact that we all love the same thing, you know? Uh, but they were telling me, so I got this call from a friend of mine on Sunday, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw this. You may want to use this tactic." And I'm like, and I have it written down. I'm not smart enough to remember. My days of memorizing are over. My
Yeah,
floppy disk is full, man.
the memory's the second thing to go. So,
So, um, I have it written down, and it's like, no, this is if you're going to argue with them about that, this is what you want to use because this is what they use against us. Uh, let's err on the side of caution. Get rid of it. And I'm like, oh,
mhm.
wow, okay. So,
Yeah.
again, and because I'm tagged, I watch all of it, and I'm watching everybody complain. I'm like, you do know what you're saying is completely fucking stupid. You
Mhm.
know, I flew all the way from Minnesota to come down shark fishing, shark feeding, and da 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 da. Oh, so you've seen sharks once, and suddenly you're a fucking expert.
Mhm.
And by no means am I saying I'm a fucking shark expert. I'm far from it. But I interact with them a lot more than you do.
Yeah. It's interesting. Internet and online creates a lot more experts. That lack of accountability
Oh,
creates a lot of experts in this industry and others. That
I
makes it.
posted a picture online. I had it in my just in my camera roll. I have like 140,000 pictures on my camera roll. There's a picture of Mike Tyson, and it said something like, "The internet has uh, changed the way people react because nobody's been punched in the mouth lately."
Exactly.
You
So,
know, and for me, I'm still concerned somebody's going to punch me in the fucking mouth because I've been punched in the mouth before. You know,
yeah,
I have a fucking pretty aggressive mouth. I have no
yeah,
problems telling you how I feel. Doesn't mean I'm right.
yeah,
I'll just tell you how I feel.
yeah.
And when
I've been accused of I've been accused of not having much of a filter myself. So,
I had a guy call me up the other day. He fishes the World Cup. He goes, "Hey man," he had a question about the tournament. Right before we hang up, he goes, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast." I'm like, "Man, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much." He goes, "I love listening to you because I never know what the fuck you're gonna say." I'm like, you may
keep
like
it,
that. My fucking girlfriend hates it, man. I've got no filter from here to here. It's I
keeping
would.
it real.
Oh my God. I was at and I don't even know if I said this on the podcast yet. I was at a gun store a few weeks ago in Oregon. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But this guy comes up to me. He heard us talking and that I was shipping all these guns to Florida. And he comes up and for the life of me, I can't remember what his actual name was, but let's just say it was Tom. And he goes, "Hey man, my name is Tom. I was listening to your story. What part of Florida are you living in?" Yeah, yeah. Hey, my name is Tom. And he goes to shake my hand, and I look at his left hand. He's got no fucking fingers, man. He's gone. And I'm like, "Your name's Tom? Your name should be fucking Nubby." And I'm there with my cousin's wife and her sister, and the look on their face, like, you just said what? I'm like, man, I'm not from around here. If I, if I see something, yeah. And listen, the guy laughed and he told me his story. And before you know, we were talking for like 30 minutes. I didn't make, I wasn't trying to be derogatory about it. It's just, hey,
Well,
man,
it's refreshing in today's world because it's genuine. It is what it
yeah.
is. So it's the real
Yeah,
deal.
and let's talk about it. It's no different than us walking down. Oh, hey, listen, it's no different than our mutual friend Tiny. And for those of you that don't know Tiny, he's like a 350 pound white Jamaican. You know, he's a big motherfucker, but we call him Tiny. You know,
Indeed.
so
That's one of
and
the great things about Costa Rica too, like that with a lot less concern about being politically correct here. But when your nicknames, you hear them all the time, whether it's Gordo, Flaco, Negro, and Bruto, and everybody's got their nicknames down here, and it's
yeah,
one of those scenarios where nobody's really worried about hurting your feelings.
no,
It's not meant maliciously, and it's not taken maliciously. It's just putting it out there.
that's the Latin culture. Like it's so funny because growing up, anybody that was black, they were negro. Oye, negro. Hey, blackie, come over here, or oye, gordo. And listen, every adult I came across, I always called them oye viejo or oye vieja, which is hey, old person.
Mhm.
And until one day people started fucking calling me that. And I'm like, when did that happen, man? When did it change on me? I'm
Yeah,
fucking oldie now. So, but again, it's a term of endearment. In the Spanish culture, it really is. It's like, hey man, you're my
indeed.
buddy. If I didn't know you, I whatever, hey, But once you get and it nobody wants there's no imagination. There's no
Yeah.
Freddy Potatoes or fucking Tiny. Hey, old person. Hey, fat
Uh,
person. Hey, skinny person.
that's good. Good
Yeah, I
stuff.
have a college friend. To this day, I still call her Flaca because in college she was skinny as a rail. Well, now she's had a few kids and she's still not a big woman, but I still call her Flaca. And she's like, "Listen, I'm 50 something years old. You can't be calling me that anymore." I'm like, "Listen, in my heart, you'll always be Flaca. That's the deal, you know." Um, so what has been some of the biggest changes that you have seen in Golfito over the fuck, you've been there 30 years. Damn.
It's a stretch, yeah.
Yeah, shit. I believe you said 96, right? Was it 95 or 96?
Yeah, it was basically fishing down here in 95, but I think we stayed 96, 97
Okay.
season. I think we
Yeah.
stayed,
So I'm
started
like
staying.
96. I'm like, it clicked on me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a round number. And I'm like, wait a second.
Only
That's not just a round number. That's a long round number. That's 30, man.
only stopped in for a long weekend. And,
That listen, hold my beer.
yeah, worst places to be stuck. It's been good to me. I always laugh. It's like living in a Carl Hiaasen novel. It's the day-to-day reality here is better than fiction. I don't know where else I'd go and have the belly laughs every day. The
Listen,
juicy ones.
I loved Golfito. One of my greatest adventures in life. It was hot. Again, we've gone over this. It was fucking hot. And the girl I was dating at the time was there. Eric Leach, Mike Leach's son, was on the boat
Mhm.
with me. And we're like, fuck this. I've been in the boat for like 5 days. Let's go on an adventure. And we'd always see the buses go by. So I grabbed some cash. I grabbed a couple credit cards and a passport. I said, everybody grab your passport because we don't know. And because I speak the language, jumped on a bus and we rode the bus, and the bus stops. It's at some central. So we stop and we have a couple of beers, and as we're having a few beers, it's like, hey man, what should we do? We asked the bartender, what should we do? Oh, you can go to the botanical bar garden. It's up at the top of the mountain and whatever. And I'm like, fuck it, let's go do it. So we go buy our tickets, whatever they were, a couple colones, and hey, we're going, this is where we want to go. Oh, go to that bus right there. And we don't pay attention. We get on the bus and we're in the back. All the windows are open. So, and it's like a Greyhound bus. It's a nice bus, but all the windows are open. There's no AC. The amount of dust flying in, man, I had dirt all in my teeth. We've got a couple of beers in the back pocket and we're having a good old time. And then we get up on the side of this mountain and the rain washed the road away. So we
Oh,
had to back up in a bus down this cliff. And
I
we
can
go,
guess where you were.
oh, I
So
bet you know exactly where I was. And then we turn around somewhere, and then we're going up another mountain, and then we stop and drop some people off and pick some people up. And I'm like, I asked somebody, I'm like, I thought this is going to so and so place. Oh, it is. But this is not the express bus. This is the local bus. We must have stopped like 127 fucking times, man. We fucking stopped in every little dirt neighborhood.
that's
And we
classic.
finally get up to said botanical garden city, which you probably know the name of. I don't
You're
even
probably headed to San Vito from here, I would suspect.
probably. Again, this was 20 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
even 25. I think this was '02. So yeah, it was like almost 25 years ago. And so we get into the town and I go to the driver. I'm like, hey brother, quick question. It was like 7 o'clock at night. And I go, hey, what time is the last bus to take us down the mountain? He goes, 5:30. I go, 5:30. And I go, but it's 7. He goes, yeah. I said, well, aren't you turning around? He goes, no, no, no. I live here. I spend the night here. The bus left an hour and a half ago. I'm like, oh my God, there's nobody on the boat. If there's a high water alarm going off and Eddie finds out that we didn't stay on the boat, he's gonna fucking kill us all. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I gotta figure it out. So what's the first thing you gotta do? You gotta go get a beer. Because I need a beer to
Indeed.
think. So we get a beer, then it's like we might as well eat dinner. And we're trying to figure out. So again, because I spoke the language, I went to the taxi stand and I go, hey, I need to get back to Golfito. Who wants to drop me off? Some guy's like, I'll do it. I'm like, really? I go, how much? And whatever it was, because it took us like fucking 3 hours. I thought it was going to be like $200. It was something like $42.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, perfect. I said, we're going to go eat dinner right there. I said, once we're done eating dinner, you can take us. So we hop in his truck, and that's what it was. It was one of those trucks with the little thing on the back.
The
And
wooden stake bed in the back.
yeah, and he goes to me in Spanish. He goes, "Do you mind if we stop by my house?" And I'm like, "Oh boy." I'm like, "Sure, but why are we stopping at your house?" Well, I was wondering if I could bring my wife so that when I drive back, I don't have to drive alone. I'm like, if you stop off and get us some beers, if you stop off and let me buy some beers, you can bring your whole fucking family. Ugh. He didn't bring the whole family, but he brought one of his kids. And down the mountain we went, man. Uh,
That's great.
it was, man, it was definitely one of those. Uh, I've got $200. Let's go $95 worth so I know I can get back
Turn
home.
around and get back. Well, I think you asked what's one of the biggest changes, but that's really one of the main changes down here is the infrastructure. And I mean, when I first got here, it'd be 8 to 11 hours of white knuckle over the Cerro de Muerte, the the there was no coastal road to speak of in the early days down here. And now with the coastal road, it's kind of, it used to be get to San Jose, I want a beer and a recliner and leave me alone. It took it all out of you. It's like running the intercoastal in the fog. It just was
Oh,
took everything you had to stay alive and to not have a problem or an accident up on the mountain road. And now we make lunch appointments and schedule stuff in the afternoon when we go to San Jose the same day. I mean, it's 4.5, 5 hours of pretty easy driving. And the
wow.
traffic can be bad and things can change. But we used to, man, I remember how good my wife was at those road trips where packing the diaper bag, extra food, extra water, extra what ifs, and making sure your vehicle had everything to make the trip up there. But
Wow.
so getting here is a lot easier than it used to be, and there are more flights. The commuter flights are still the commuter flights, but it's a lot easier to get to Golfito than it was 25, 30 years ago.
Is your runway finally paved, or is it still that pebble nasty shit it used to be
It's
years ago?
it's paved, but it's not well maintained. I would say you could find some FOD on there if you looked hard enough. I still tell clients to not. I mean, I've had a jet in here more than once, and a small jet, and it's not recommended. I mean, most of my clients will swap their jet out to a local King Air or a local Cessna Caravan, Grand
Yeah,
Caravan or something, and come down.
that's what we
But
did was
yeah,
the local caravan because we couldn't get
yeah.
the jet up in there.
There's a bunch of good stories between clients and friends and your experiences on those, but that afternoon flight is
Come
pretty
on,
rough.
give them to me. Give me your favorite one, man.
I had you'll laugh at this. I came back, I had to get back here right after Christmas, and the boss was just right behind me. And I got into San Jose and Sansa was full. So I flew the other alternative airline was Nature Air. And coming into San Jose, I have never had a problem scuba diving, never had a problem equalizing in my life. And I got to squeeze when we flew into San Jose on the commercial airliner. I thought my head was going to explode. I think I bent the frame on the seat in front of me.
Oh my
I was just
God.
in pain. And so I get out of the airport and I get over to Nature Air and I'm just like, well, I can do one. I can do that one more time. It's not going to kill me. And I got on the Nature Air flight. It was like a bus route. I think we stopped 7 times between San Jose here
Oh,
and the senior pilot was sitting in the starboard seat, and there's a young kid in training in the port seat, and at takeoff he reached up and we're rolling up to basically liftoff speed, and he slaps his hands like we're in kindergarten, and I'm thinking, and it took me a second to realize that last maneuver was fuel. He turned the fuel off by accident as we were taking off.
oh
And
no.
each landing was worse than the last. And we came into Tambor with the stall alarms on, coming in about like that. I thought we were going to catch the running gear on the bank, and it was just bizarre. But there's a lot of good stories about flying back and forth down here. And I forever would not book clients on the afternoon flight, but I would take it all the time myself into the thunderstorms and the rain. But
Listen, you guys got some fucking serious ass thunderstorms down there. You put South Florida to shame.
it gets rather sporty on occasion. It really can. And unfortunately, I think with the sophistication of yachts these days, they're just susceptible to damage a lot easier, I think, than they used to be with so much technology and on board that a lot of yachts up and down the coast every year get their damage
I, I
and have to deal with
I just talked to somebody the other day. His boat not last week, the week before last, got hit up in Los Sueños.
several boats in Los Sueños from that same storm are dealing with problems now and sorting out issues.
Ugh.
So,
What a nightmare.
my first captain and a good friend of mine, Scott Beard and Jay Bozelski, were leaving here. They were running I think Jay was on an ocean yacht, but they were running up to Capos from here, headed to Los Sueños from here. And I was in San Jose running an errand or doing something for the marina, but I was in San Jose and my cell phone rings. I think that was back when they were the big box and the cell phone rings. And it was like, this is not a drill. And it was my first, and that was how he started. This is not a drill. And I guess they got struck by Canyon Island and all the high water alarms were going off. The engine shut down on one side and one engine stayed in gear at idle on the other, but Jay got knocked down. They were both wearing Casio watches from the duty free here, and Jay's never came back. Scott started working about a week later. And
Oh,
they got whacked. And but yeah, this is not a drill, and it can be pretty serious here at times. I mean, the and sometimes you're just looking at the black squall and you try and figure out which way to turn away from it, and there isn't a direction that
they're coming in from everywhere.
doesn't have it. Yeah,
Yeah, for people that don't realize it, most of the hurricanes that make it to Cabo start from you guys.
yeah,
You
yeah. We don't
guys are
have to
the,
deal with them, but that
yeah,
hot water and those pressure systems spin off of here. So.
yeah, you guys are the Cape Verde of the Central Pacific. They come off of you and they just work their way up.
hmm We just
It's
had some
brutal.
sporty weather here the last couple of days. I'm sure you've probably seen some of the footage of the water coming over the seawalls at Capos and Los Sueños.
Oh,
Fortunately, there wasn't a lot of surge with it, but there was a lot of folks, especially the commercial guys, uh, took quite a bit of damage up and down especially the northern coast of Costa Rica.
it's funny you say that. I even saw some damage up in Nicaragua.
Plus, Nicaragua got hit hard. They
Really
lost a lot
hard.
of boats. So,
Yeah, when you said that, it reminded me. I'm like, wait a second. The videos I saw, that wasn't, no, that was Nicaragua. Yeah,
yeah.
they took a shellacking.
Yeah, it was good to see. I mean, as we talked earlier, there's a lot of good, there's building and better relationship between the commercial guys and the sport fishing sector, I think more so than there ever has been. And it was a great thing. I'll give Carter and Jeff and all the team at Marina Pez Vela credit because they were able to bring a lot of the commercial guys from the Capos River mouth there into the marina when the weather was tough and give them some safe harbor for a short
Oh,
period of time. So that was,
listen, that's a good olive branch.
yeah, yeah,
That's a very good olive branch.
good community, and mariners taking care of the mariners there. But the Capos Marina Pez Vela does a really good job of their integration and working with the community on so many levels. But
I like Marina Pesvela. I have not been to Los Sueños since they got bought out by Safe Harbor. So I'm going to withhold any kind of position, stand, say I just don't know. But I was just in Marina. Well, you and I were passing
mhm.
because
You were for
when
the offshore championship, and
yeah, I was down there for the offshore championship, and I think you were just on your way to go pick up your mom. And oh,
that's
wait a
good.
second, you fished the Bisbees?
I was up for the Bisbees to do a little glad handing for the yacht transport company cross chartering, but I didn't fish. I was just up
Okay.
there for the captain's meeting and some glad handing and say hi. And it's kind of funny. The guys I've worked with at Cross, I hadn't actually met in person after years of emails and phone conversations. So a few of those guys I got to actually meet
How
and
funny is that?
go up to see all the friends and that are fishing, and Carter and his team are always a gracious host. And then it was fun to meet Wayne and Jordan and Blake and touch base with them as well.
Yeah, it's I was there for the award ceremony and it was um they did a really good job.
It's
Really, really good job. It was very
Capos is doing a
impressive.
great job. I fished the Florida Canyon there, and it's a great venue, and they really put the effort and the detail into it. I think between the tournament committees and the Marina Pez Vela staff, it makes it a really fun spot to be for an event.
Yeah. And it's a nice marina. It's just a
Yes.
really, really nice run. Simple. Listen, it's not, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, it's not hoity-toity like Los Sueños. Los Sueños is hoity-toity. It's not, man, it's beautiful. It caters to
Yep.
you. Uh,
And it's perfect for what it is, and
yeah,
that's what
and
it
it's
is.
great. But Capos is a little bit of 2026 and old Costa Rica. You know,
Yep.
you can just walk outside the gate and you're in old Costa Rica.
Yep.
You know,
That's the running joke about Los Sueños is that sometimes it's 45 minutes from Los Sueños to Costa Rica now. and but Capos does a good job of integrating the community. And then when you're up there, you'll see Marcia Bierman, and which is, you want to say, founding sport fishing out of Capos. Marcia was there, and Andy Moyes. So you still have a lot of people who started with the fisheries, early sport fishing in Costa Rica. There are in
Yeah.
Capos on a regular basis. So it's really, I think it's really integral on this stretch of the coast. It's just fun to see as the options go, and you can marina jump, and there's more venues depending on where the fish move. But Capos is certainly the hub. So
Yeah. I remember when they were first building it, they had a lot of issues with their breakwater back in the day. Um, but they got that handled, and man, what a fucking nice place. And they just finished out that new condo. Um,
condos were phenomenal. I got to
oh,
stay with Carter in one when I was up there
did you?
for the Florida Canyon, and I mean, it's talk about prime time, front and center. It just doesn't get a whole lot better than that. The folks
No,
who
it's
stayed on those
so
condos are
nice. I stayed in it
wonderful
this year for the
facilities.
first time, and it was, yeah, it was, and it's killer. And then you got the grocery store is what used to be just half that size. It's doubled up. They got
Uh,
everything you need. You got the tackle shop moved up where Pelagic is. So
hmm.
no, I think they've done a really good job at Capos there, and it's a lovely marina.
They've
Lovely,
got a
lovely
great
marina.
great team and a great vision. I mean, it's nice to see how they approach their business as well as their community.
Yeah, I have not from the American side, but even the local side, I haven't heard any complaints from the local side. You know, as I'm walking down the dock, I get to talk to all the people that live there and they're running boats there. And yeah, everybody's super, super happy that, the service they get, the location, everything is top notch. And for me, I like to hear that, you
It's a good
know.
vibe. And even down to the we obviously interact with the government on a regular basis when we're here, and I do some work up there on occasion. Usually send a protege or an associate, but it's they have a good relationship with the port captain. They have a great relationship with Incopesca, and all those details, and immigration really is a good fit where it makes it very welcoming to locals and visitors alike.
I wish him well, and yeah, I love if somebody were to ask me about a location on the West Coast, I would always highly recommend Capos.
Yeah.
You know,
It's interesting to think about how much has changed in that period of time of, when you listen to old stories like Todd Habib and the other folks that traveled through here long before I got here, where it was camping. You didn't know when you were going to get fuel the next time. You didn't know
no,
when, where, you might show up to a place that has fuel, but they don't have electricity for the next 3 days. And the early years down here were a challenge. And now
listen,
to have
you just went old school with Tab Habib. I haven't heard that name in forever on the old Alacron.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, he,
was. Yeah, I remember the first time I met him. He had Monster working for him,
uh-huh.
and we were down in Tropic Star. His boss showed up, and we decided we took the dinghy out to their boat to have a couple of cocktails, and just a good old-fashioned Texas guy. We sat there.
No,
Uh-oh.
pardon me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't know. I don't have keys for the Listo. You can message him, but tackle drawers, second drawer on the tackle station. So every world's second drawer on the tackle station is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, listen, you're running a business here. But yeah, his boss to pass the time away, he would put an LED light on the water and you would shoot butterfish as they come up. If you can shoot one with a pellet gun, and it was like a fucking competition. Everybody else played cards, roll dice. No, let's just shoot fish in the lights. It was,
Uh,
and then that night he was complaining, my fucking neighbor's making me put up a fence and yada yada yada. I'm a kid. I'm like 21 years old. Okay. You're complaining about your neighbor. That's grown-up problems. I'm not a grown-up yet. And then finally, like the next day or later on, I can't remember if I asked Todd or if I asked Monster. I'm like, Hey man, so what? He fucking owns a merit boat. What's the big deal about putting up a fence? He goes, it's a big deal when it's 67 miles of fence. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Uh,
that's a
it's
different problem.
a little different problem. So
So
Todd,
you talked about and you brought up Todd. Over the years, you've probably had some unbelievable names in the fishing industry that you've come across, and I'm
it's been
sure.
it's been such an honor. And I'm sorry, but my whole life I've been a Guggen from the beginning. When I fell in love with this industry, I'm never going to be great at fishing. I'm never going to be. I'm a kook in surfing, and I'm a Guggen at fishing. But nobody has more fun than me. And to land where I landed when I landed, people who I looked up to as legends, complete legends, and wanted to find every word I could find about the magazine, to have those people years later actually calling me and saying, "Hey, what's the bite like down there?" And so fun to see from Chip Schaefer and Nick Smith to the different talent that's come through here over the years. It's just been a great to get to know them and to see the East meets West, especially at that time in the 90s, where a lot of techniques were not necessarily as prevalent on one side of the coast or the other, and to see people come through from the east and go west and come back with those uh, live bait techniques and dredge and trolling techniques, and it's just been fun to watch a lot of the talent that's come through here. It's been fun to make a lot of great friends and share a lot of good times and stories and I don't know. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts. I don't think I could have lasted in Golfito without the marine in this industry and that outside influence of getting to see the people that are part of what make this industry so great.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's why I wanted you on here. You have been like the Grand Central Station of so many people uh transversing that whole east to west Pacific. I mean, when I first started going down there, you'd be lucky if there was 10 boats total going both directions. And now
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, it's like 500 boats each way.
It's crazy. And it's kind of funny. The yacht transport's become a big part of that. It's become a big part of our business too. But when I first started with Banana Bay, I'd get a call from Peter Stevens or somebody in at the canal, or the boat would call me at the canal, and I'd have 2 or 3 days to get a slip ready. And, the boats have changed and the game's changed. Now people call me after breakfast and they're here before happy hour. It's 35, 40 knots, zoom, there they
It's
are. And it's
it's
just it's
amazing.
it's a different world. But in the early days, I laughed that as a marina operator when we were at Banana, I remember when the first transport ship came in, and then I got this blank look on my face, and I used to think, oh, what have I done? Because you used to have to come from somewhere to get here. And I introduced the novice. And that was just like, oh man, the first Sea Ray that didn't have a clue, or the first trawler, and it was one of those scenarios where it's changed the game and it's made it a lot easier to get here for a lot of people. But it used to be an effort to get here, and you had to get some salt on the windows. So
Yeah, I mean, you went to Costa Rica. Now, there's 4 daily flights direct.
yeah,
There's 200 boats in one marina. So it's
yes,
it's it's really, to me, it's how many American guys that I know that have pulled up everything from Florida, and they live in Costa Rica full time.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yesterday I spoke with Tony Carrizosa. He's been down there for
We were
25 years.
Yeah, Tony's been down here a long stretch. A lot of guys, and it's kind of funny. I you forget how long it's been, but there's so many good guys down here and so much talent that stays, but it makes it a lot easier for the guys that are coming and going to have that base of the industry down here in good services and just knowledge and talent. So
Do we got to fix another problem? I'm here to help too. I got my Rolodex if you need anything.
just you able to get in, Natasha, or do, do you need to?
Natasha may have to come in and say hello to everybody on the camera.
Natasha needs to. She's what makes all the magic work here. We'll make her do it right now.
Hey, Natasha, come on in, say hello.
She's sending a message. Come on over here and
Say
say
hello to
hello.
the people.
Natasha makes the magic. If sometimes she lets me help, but she actually makes all the magic happen.
Hi,
Hello.
Natasha. Say hello to the people. Right now, you have 58 million people watching you. Say hello to everybody all over the world.
Wow. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day.
Tell everybody a little bit about your, hold on a second. I'm not going to ask her if she's married yet. Hold on. Go ahead. We got people looking, asking. So where are you from? Are you from Golfito?
Yes, I was born and raised here in Golfito.
Beautiful. And you help everybody come and enjoy the Pacific for the first time?
Yes, that's the idea. I have been working for Bruce since 2015. And previously to that, I used to work in the main pier here. So I have a little bit of experience in the maritime service, but I really enjoy this part with the sport fishing industry.
Okay. Doug is asking, how many times have you had to get Bruce out of jail?
None at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Doug is also asking, how many times have you had to pick him up because he couldn't drive?
None either.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. And we
Thank
appreciate,
you.
if you need anything else, let me know. I have my phone here. I'll give you a number.
Bye.
Bye, Vanessa.
Natasha makes
Oh,
a lot
Natasha.
of
I said
interesting stuff
Vanessa.
happen for all our clients. And
Ah,
a lot of guys, I think, check their calendar to see if I'm going to be out of town. So it's a lot easier and more efficient to do the paperwork. And she's a lot better looking than I
yeah,
am.
no
So
joke. Listen, I get it. I get it. It's funny because we're not live. Nobody's asking me anything. I was just making shit.
uh, she she does a great job, and I have been really fortunate. Like she said, she's been it's almost 12 years, I guess, coming on 12 years that she's been working with me. And I am happy to say that she gets it. She does the paperwork my way or better. Her attention to details there. And what's really funny is I think I've given her a no filter conservative attitude that she might not have had before she started working with me. And it's
Very
kind of
nice.
areas where
That is very
she's
nice.
extremely cordial with all clients, but when it comes to getting down to brass tacks or details, it's kind of a funny scenario. And I always laugh. I love to say there aren't necessarily a lot of liberals running game boats in our industry, and
No,
interesting
that's
as a
true.
in a political structure which we'll stay out of, but it's kind of an interesting scenario where I think she was astounded at what a wonderful group of people that we interact with on a regular basis in this industry, and it's almost self-policing where the people who are not necessarily uh, going to be people you want to interact with on a regular basis, they get weeded out in
Very
fairly
quickly.
short order. So
Very quick. It's so funny because I say most of the time, the assholes in our industry, they get pushed out really fast.
yeah,
They get pushed
yeah.
out really, really fast. People like to be around people that are nice.
Mhm.
And when you're sitting on the dock and you're gonna have a cocktail at the evening or a beer or whatever, dinner, you want to be around nice people.
That was the beauty of Banana Bay, and I was always very fortunate that my partner pretty much gave me carte blanche. I could do whatever really needed to be done, and during season, especially, if you didn't fit in, we'd find you somewhere else to be. And so you had that camaraderie of a great group of people on the docks, and it was, always a dock party. And it almost reminded me of Venturas in the old days, but somebody had a grill going, the coolers were out, and everybody was welcome. And it was just a good vibe. And if you weren't going to fit in or you were going to be a hammerhead, you found somewhere else to be. We just make sure you were moved on shortly after. So
Get out.
uh,
Get out. Don't, yeah, no assholes. Easy. I don't
mhm.
want to put up with it. Leave me
Yeah.
alone. Especially if you're going to be next to me for 3 months. I don't want
Life's too
somebody
short.
miserable.
Life's too short.
Yeah, it just so no, it's important. I'm glad to see that she's working with you. And now, how many employees do you have total now?
We basically, it's Natasha and I here in Golfito, and I will occasionally, not very often, I will occasionally run up to Capos if they need something. But one of my friends who I became friends with his father when I first got to Costa Rica in 1993 through just chance. But one of my friends, his son Joaquin Tinoco, helps us with a lot of the long-term paperwork, the long-term permits and paperwork that we do for the yachts that are going to get the 2 year exoneration.
Okay.
And he also handles. I always laugh is that Natasha and I is two. We handle Golfito and we make him run around the rest of the entire country and do Papagayo and Flamengo and Los Sueños and
Oh my
Capos.
gosh. You're Du
but
Boy.
uh, but we don't do a lot in all the other ports, but for select clientele, we make sure they get what they need if they're coming and going, and we've got enough advance notice. Joaquin will be there for them, and so it's not uncommon now for us to be taking care of boats in Papagayo and Flamingo and certainly Los Sueños and
So
Capos.
you bring up a good point. Let me ask you to delve into it for people that may be listening and thinking of taking their boat down there, or their boss is thinking of taking their boat down there. Would you mind spending a little bit of time of telling people what are the different ways they can get boats in there, what kind of timing? You just talked about the 2 year. Could you talk a little bit about the different options that people have? And you don't have to go into great detail, but just draw a picture for people that aren't aware with it.
Sure. Normally, it's fairly straightforward whether you arrive on your own bottom or arrive on a yacht transport ship. What we do as our company is we basically get a you get a temporary import permit issued, and generally it's for 180 days now. And for a lot of boats coming down for the season, that's more than sufficient. And then if you intend to stay longer, the other types of permits require a contract with one of the approved marinas. But you can get a customs extension, basically in 6 month increments up to 2 years, or they have what is called from MOP, which is the Department of Transportation, a 2 year exoneration, which is renewable as well. But with the marina contract, you get a 2 year cruising permit, and it's basically renewable every 2 years. And it takes a little bit of corporate paperwork, but as long as you have your slip active with the marina, the boat can come and go, and it's valid for up to 2 years, and do a renewal a month before it expires. And it makes it a lot easier. And it also eliminates the requirement for the nationals RPAs, the boats on the 2 year permit with the marina contracts. They just do a float plan through the marina office for their traveling or their fishing trips. So it's a lot more user friendly and easier than it used to be. It does require some paperwork, which gets rather entertaining, but we try and take all the grief out of that portion of it if we can.
That's not bad. That's not
Uh,
bad at all. Shit, the
yeah,
180 days, it's better. I mean, some countries you go to every 30 days, you got to do something.
we were 90 days for a long stretch down here, but it's 180 now, and it makes it a lot easier for the guys that are coming and going for the sailfish season or the tournament season.
Yeah, that's it's amazing when a government makes it easy for people to use anything, any kind of resource, whether coming in for fishing, coming, if you make it easy, you get more people to do it.
It's always moving in the right track, and I always laugh that it's improved. I honestly, when I first got to Golfito, I'll joke and I'll share this with you. I think I got sentenced to doing this work with the government because I remember praying as a kid in Sunday school for patience. And I can just see God said, "Oh, that's easy. We'll make you do paperwork with the government in Central America."
Oh my God, you
So,
don't know how funny that is. Uh,
and I'm just thinking, so yeah, so let's do some paperwork with the government. And I always start with, okay, first you've got to remove logic, and then we can address this. But when I got here at the customs office, they had one old manual typewriter, and but they didn't even have a ribbon in it. They had little pieces of ribbon, and they would have to go in, and I would
oh,
go, and it's in a temporary import permit on triplicate in carbon paper, and it was actually faster than it is now. And
Oh
It's
my
kind of
gosh,
beautiful,
that's brutal.
but it's gotten a lot more user friendly. The intention of the government is to make it user friendly, and we just had a meeting with some of our port authorities yesterday about some of the steps that are coming as they put in new computer systems, and it is a lot easier than it ever used to be. And I can remember when I first got here, it would be sometimes I had clients at Banana Bay that would do it themselves, and they'd be 4 or 5 days to get their inbound port clearance completed. And
Wow.
I started doing it for free there just for my marina clients because it was a necessity to make their stay to feel welcome
Yeah.
and to allow them to be able to stay. And even one of the cruising guides, one of the old cruising guides used to tell you what bar stool the port captain hid on until it was almost time for his overtime. He'd go up to his office at 4 o'clock, but he could, yeah, if you wanted him before overtime, you had to go down to the Domino bar and look at the end stool to see if you could roust
Oh
him.
my God, that is so funny.
Uh, but
That
there's some
is
class.
fucking hilarious.
There's been a lot of funny stories with the port authorities over the years, but it's very much an important part of the economy now. The marinas and the investments that the marinas represent, as well as tourism in general, is certainly coming into its own in Costa Rica and accepted and acknowledged as a big important part of the economy, especially in the coastal communities where it's needed. And I think that's reflected in the fact that there's a lot more streamlined systems for the paperwork and boats to be able to come, stay, and be welcome.
I mean, one of the funniest stories that you can think of that you remember over the 30 years. There's got to be
Oh,
somebody
there's
disappeared for a week or don't mention any names. I don't want nobody going to
there's
jail.
I'll have to think of one here in a moment. We've had some classics. When the yacht transport stuff started, it got entertaining. But I had you've got to get people and paperwork lined up, and you have to enter some of that stuff in the system before the boat arrives. And this is going back a few years, and it was a nice custom yacht on the boat, and I never got any communication. I got one email. I'm calling. I'm trying to find whose boat is this? Where is it? And the ship arrives, and I mean, I went out to the boat and, I checked the seacocks and turned on batteries and checked systems and did everything I could, fired it up and put it to the dock. And I think it was 3 or 4 days later, the guy showed up like it was valet parking and say, "Hey, do you, and I won't even say what type of boat it was, but do you have
Yeah.
but it was just hilarious because I have people who will call me every day for the month before it arrives. And this guy showed up like 4 or 5 days later, like it was valet parking. And fortunately, I had a slip to put it in at the marina. We were able to fire up systems and plug it in and get things rolling. But that was
Oh,
that was pretty classic. So
okay. So, and again, don't say the name of the boat, no captain. Was there a captain or was it just an owner operator?
it was an owner operator, and I think he
Okay.
was between captains. It was a nice sled, but it was just one of those scenarios where it was basically just like coming out and looking for the valet. Have you seen one of these?
Oh my gosh.
But that was a classic.
I know
And
somebody that just sent one from Fort Lauderdale, I think to Golfito. Maybe he was going up to Cotton. Not really sure. But all I know is I'm on a group text chain and I watch that boat every single day where the fuck it was.
I
And
have a
not because
client.
I was following it, because he was following it.
I have clients like that. We're both sending each other pictures of where the ship's at and the weather report for where the ship's at all day, every day, and it's pretty comical. But they're almost always late. And we also had another incident, and I'm going back a lot of years, but one year the transport ship, it got in here basically almost 48 hours early.
Oh,
It
wow.
it blazed through the canal, so nobody was here. And I think we had like 12 yachts coming off, and I'm texting and calling people, and actually texting. I think it was before text, but the where are the keys? What do I need to check? Where did you close Seacocks? And we nobody was here yet. Nobody could get here fast enough. And that was one of the anomalies of the yacht transport end is they're never early. But the way but being early was actually tougher than being late. So,
Yeah,
but
I
we
don't
got
think I've
everybody
ever heard
off and
one
got
being
everybody at the
early.
dock. And so there was enough talent here between myself and others that we could move the boats. But there's some classic stories over the years. I mean,
Oh my
I have a few.
gosh. That is
There,
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Okay, we're here, and it's not like they're gonna wait.
No,
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 no.
no.
Get the fuck off. We got to go to the next spot. Oh, wow. That is pretty classic. What on those transports, on average, how many boats do you get on those transports?
It's kind of interesting why there's not really an average. We have a lot of ships that will stop and drop off one yacht. And
Okay.
then I think we have like on the DYT during high season, I think we also have some traffic where there was I think the most we've seen come off at a single stop is would you have 23 yachts that Natasha did once off of the DYT? And I think recently the DYT in November, the November December ship generally drops like 20, 24, 25 boats.
That's
Uh,
a lot of boats, man. That's a lot of
and
paperwork.
it's pretty interesting. Sometimes the reality is I've seen where there are times when the port authorities would be hard pressed to do 4 boats in a day. So when you watch a lot of times people don't see the preparation that Natasha puts into it, but when you prep all the documents, all the paperwork, all the photocopies, and can generate most all of the permits the same day that the yacht transport discharges the yachts, and they can be on their way that day or the next morning. It's pretty entertaining. It's a good full court press where we go from sitting still for a long time to being in a big rush on a single day.
What's that process like? So you got to get all the permits and everything, and then what do you have to present it to the captain on board the yacht transport?
Actually, there's a combination of scenarios that take place, but I think one of the challenging ones to explain to clientele sometimes is that the cargo manifest and the bill of ladings created from that cargo manifest have to match the documentation that we request from customs. So you need to know what individual with an eligible passport is going to be here to sign for customs. And you have to have engine information, serial numbers, and model numbers, which not everybody has at their fingertips for some boats or new boats. And so there's a lot of details that have to be presented to customs. And the more that we have in advance, the smoother we can make it. And Natasha's got a lot of that streamlined, but it's if a boat's coming in on its own bottom, we have to give theoretically 48 hours notice to the health department. Ever since COVID, they get the say to issue the Libre Practica, and so you have to tell them, and they want a list of provisions on board. They want a list to make sure that nobody's died recently and that you don't have any disease, and you have to file all that through the health department. The health department gives you the okay, and then you can make arrangements with immigration, animal control, port captain, and customs to do the official arrival visit when the yacht actually arrives. But most of that happens behind the scenes now for the clients that we work with.
Yeah, but still they need to know I, I have uh I have a friend that we're in partnership in a couple of little businesses, and I always tease him. I go, you know how to make the sausage. I just know how to cook it. I, I, I'd like to know that you know how to make it so I understand it, and then I'll worry about the rest. I like to know. Doesn't mean I have to learn how to do it. I like to know, okay, this. That way, if the shit hits the fan, no pun intended,
Mhm.
you understand, hey, I think there was a problem in this section right here. You know, so when I call up and I can say, hey, man, I'm having a problem with this section. How should I handle it?
That's
So yeah, no. Even though they don't see it, it's nice to know that they understand, especially that whole fucking health department COVID.
it gets crazy. A lot of times we have to call and insist on the information, and I'm like, if you really want your boat, you're going to have to give us this info. You know, I can make it up, but it's going to make it tough for you if something goes south. So it's a challenge. Most of our guys, and I'd say 90% of them, I mean, a lot of it's repeat clientele, which I never initially anticipated being in Golfito. When I opened the marina, I thought this was going to be a port that was basically folks in transit. And now so much of our clientele is repeat clientele, which is just wonderful, and it's all word of mouth. But the guys know we send them an information with or a form with the information that we need, and man, everybody's so good about getting it back to us and all the details. And if they have questions, I answer the phone. And I guess that's one of the things that has worked really well for me. But call me if you got a question or you don't know or something's changing. Call me.
Yeah.
And
So
you
many
know,
things could be fixed if you just talk to people.
yeah.
You just
So
talk to people. I had a young kid call me this morning, 8 o'clock. He's first time as a captain fishing the World Cup. And he's like, man, I just want to touch base and I want to let you know that I'm going to sign up. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to, but I appreciate it. Let's give you a rundown of questions. And I ask him all these questions, and half of them I know it from working on boats, and then the other half I know it because I've been running the tournament now 12 years. And I'm like,
12 years.
here's my fucking scenarios. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Let's do this. And if you're gonna wait, because he's going to Bermuda and it happens. A lot of people like to wait till they get over there and then sign up. Fair enough. I'm not going to tell you when you have to sign up, but my rules state you don't need an excuse to get a full refund from your entry. So, what I recommend to you is sign up now. And if
Mhm.
something happens, call me up. I'll tell you to send me an email and I give you your money back. No questions asked. And we're done. You don't ever have to worry about it. But I know sometimes people don't get there till July 1st. Then you're getting the boat ready. You're waiting to pick up your boss. You go fishing. You do whatever. And now it's 20 minutes before deadline. And I can't remember all the people that called me. That's not my job. And
Yeah.
I've had owners call me up and try to pay for it on their credit card. And, oh, the bank is saying this and the bank is saying that. I'm like, not a me problem, bro. Get another credit card, you know? And
Yeah.
I hate to do it. I'm here to
Yeah.
help you. So I had a guy last year call me up and he said, hey, the owner says he's going to pay for the entry fee and I'm chartering the boat. I don't trust him. I go, what do you mean you don't trust him? He's like, in case he forgets. I go, well, if you want, why don't you just pay for the entry? And if he forgets, you're in and he could pay you back. And if he does sign up, I'll just give you a refund. Great. And that's what he did. And then the guy signed up on whatever, June 30th. And he called me up, hey, he just paid for it. I go, okay, send me an email. And I gave him all his money back.
That's
That,
that's the ticket. And life like fishing, I mean, it's all about preparation.
yeah.
And if you do the preparation, man, a lot of it can go real smooth. And you eliminate surprises. We have a funny one. Natasha will laugh at this one, but like the guys coming off of the ship in December, most of them are good professionals. We've worked with them all before. They get their paperwork to us early. We've got all the information and forms. And so I had one day there was probably 5 or 6 guys that just arrived together in a van or off of the flight, and they're in here, just need signatures and a couple of photocopies of their entry stamp on the passport. And some lawyer burst through the office with a stack of papers 6 inches thick, and the owner's coming in the door behind him, and he, barges past everybody to my desk, and he's like, "We need to be out of here first. We need to be out of here on Sunday, no matter what." And I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, but there's several people in line ahead of you here. We'll get to your paperwork." And you don't understand. We were told, and the guy goes on and I'm like, open your mouth one more time, or continue to be rude, and I'll make sure you're here till Wednesday. And,
Really
and
simple.
I thought Natasha was going to fall out of her chair, but it was just kind of funny that the guys that had done the preparation had sent all their stuff early, and you're not jumping in line in front of those guys who had done all their work and done all their prep, and they're just doing their autographs, getting their paperwork dialed in. We'll get to you, and we
Yeah.
did. But it's one of those scenarios that it's nice to have it prepped and done in advance.
That's and the fact that it was his attorney coming in for the owner.
Oh, well, the owner was funny. The owner just sat down. I think I had a sofa in the office at the time. The owner had sat down, and I barked at the lawyer like that. And the owner got up and he said, "I think I'll go have a cocktail." And I
That's
thought
awesome.
it was awesome. He was classic. But
And all these captains are all sitting there in line. They've been talking to you every other day for the last 2.5 months. Hey, getting ready on the ship. The ship's a day late. The ship's a day early. We just got loaded. Here it is. They've been in
It's
communication with you the whole time.
I mean, you know the guys. It's such a fun group to work with, and so many of the guys call me and say, "Hey, we're loading in 3 weeks. Anything you want from Florida, anything you need." And it's fun to sometimes it's parts, boat parts, and or tackle, and sometimes it's gifts for the kids and or
Yeah.
for the wife. But it's a great place to be working with the guys who are well ahead of it and keep in touch with you.
That's, man, our industry to this day. I couldn't tell you. Now, mind you, I'm not traveling with boats. If there's anything you ever need, just let me know. That's
Mhm.
just the way I end my conversations because I've been down there. I've been
Yeah.
all the place before there was Amazon, before there was uh, American Export, before there was any of that stuff. It's like, and before there was Facebook when you could put it on there, anybody flying to Costa Rica. No,
Mhm.
you start calling around. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? What do you mean? I need a turbo. I'll pay you 300, but I'll pay you your daily rate to grab a turbo, fly down to
Yeah,
Costa Rica, drop it off, and you can fly back home.
yeah. There's been a lot of days here with all the challenges of customs and shipping and stuff like that when it's like, well, who's going to be best, FedEx or DH? And who do you want to have lunch with tomorrow? So we'll get you a taxi to San Jose and have lunch with somebody and get
That's
you booked.
it.
So
It's it's so funny because my girlfriend is always surprised at my ability to do logistics. And I'm like, fuck, this shit is easy nowadays. This is easy. You know, you have a contact for everything. You have a contact for. I was on a Zoom call once about an event, and I didn't have the headphones on. I had it, just open. It was just a regular Zoom call, and our kitchen's right there. So she's washing the dishes, and some lady's talking about, yeah, I'm trying to source some tan AstroTurf, and I can't find it. And I'm like, I know a guy. She goes, you know a guy? I says, I know the guy that imports all the AstroTurf into the United States. He's a fisher. He likes to fish. It's like, really? I said, yeah, hold on. Let me get you his number. And I got the number and I sent it and she was able to find it, you know? And it's just because of you never throw away a phone number.
yeah,
You never throw away a fucking phone number.
I'm
It's like,
I'm laughing. I found my black book from the Lauderdale days back in there before business cards had emails or websites, and but it was comical. I had one phone call a couple years back, and a person that I actually have mutual friends with that ended up buying the old Hatteras I used to ran, and they found the safe under the decks in the forward stateroom. Do you know the combo? And I'm like, I don't remember it, but I know it's in that black book, and I know it's empty.
yeah.
But I laughed and I went back and still, the contacts are the contacts, but they knew they could call me, and it was pretty funny. They opened it up, and it was empty, surprisingly enough.
Well, you told him it was going to be empty.
But yeah, the contacts of the people you know and the people you meet, and they all stay with you. And it's an amazing fraternity.
It's the greatest fraternity to me. It's the greatest fraternity in the world.
Mhm.
You know, people talk about, listen, I didn't go to any big college. I went to community college for a couple of years and never graduated. And, oh, well, I'm part of Phi Beta Kappa, whatever. I don't, man, I'm a fucking fisherman.
Yeah.
Uh, and oh, actually, I got an old high school buddy. He joined the Moose Lodge just so because he travels around the United States. He loves to be able to go somewhere, have a beer, and have somebody to talk to. And I'm like, man, that sounds kind of cool. I said, I kind of belong to something like that too. I can go to any marina in the world and there's somebody. No,
Yeah.
it's the greatest thing.
It's a fact. I just laugh. I know I envy you with the volume of travel that you still get to do and your Japan trips and stuff like that. But it's so comical to be in any airport anywhere and you can spot the uniform, even if it's somebody you haven't met yet, but you can spot the uniform. It's
It's funny because I literally, um, I don't wear fishing shirts. I go in a collared shirt, uh, you know, golf shorts, and I try to go under the radar. So when somebody recognizes me, they recognize me, not the uniform, you
Uh-huh.
know? But
They're
yeah,
still
the raccoon eyes.
the raccoon eyes.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. But
It's
it's a great fraternity, man.
it's the best. It's
It
the
really
best.
is. And it's funny you brought up Japan. I there's so many different countries I go to, and a lot of them are either well established like Japan, and even though they might be behind us on some techniques, listen, they've been fishing out of Japan for 5,000 years. They've got us blown out of the water. But you go to so many different countries, and I've been on so many different boats that I'm the only person that speaks English.
Mhm.
And we're all the same. Last year I was in Croatia and I was on this boat and everybody's speaking Croatian and uh, I don't drink, so I'm like, just give me a fizzy water. So I'm having fizzy water and they have good European bread and salami and pepperoni and cheeses and we're just fucking I'm laughing. I don't know what the fuck they're saying, but I'm having a fucking great time. And I spend like an hour with them. Then like day two of the tournament, they put together a video making fun of me, not in a derogatory way, just, copying how I talk to, mocking me how I talk online. And they sent me the video and they're like, we hope he's not upset. They told my friend that, that I know. And I'm like, upset. This is fucking awesome.
Gold. That's
I
great.
know. So it's like, okay, I'm one of you fishermen. If you feel comfortable enough that you want to make fun of me, fucking A, man, I made it. I made it
Yeah.
in Croatia.
I've heard you talk about it on here before, but the pranks, the making fun of, the goofing on people is such a great part of this game, and it's the people from all walks of life. But it's if you can't laugh at yourself and laugh at each other, then you're missing the day, you know.
Exactly. You're missing something. You
Mhm.
really are because uh fuck, there's so many guys that I've met over the years that uh maybe Monster. I met Monster when I was like fucking 20 years old. 20
Mhm.
years old. In all of my I've been in this business 34 years. I don't think I got 50 days being in front of Monster. But I can call him up on the phone right now. Hey man, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah,
You know? It just yeah, that's just the industry. You
that's
know?
good stuff.
Uh, Monster took me to a couple strip clubs back in the day in Panama. He's like, no, dude, you're 20 years old. You don't know what you're doing. Come over here.
Classic.
Yeah, you can't sit up there with a whole stack of $1 bills. What are you doing? Come over here. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Monster.
Yeah. Oh my God, that kid is fucking hilarious. A
He's
kid.
great.
He first of all, he's older than me, so Monster's got to be 56 now. You know,
Yeah,
with his little beady glasses on.
love it.
He
Love
was
it. Love it.
great, man. He was great.
It's
What?
It's such a great group of people. And like you said, I've been fortunate to be able to sit here in Golfito and have a chance to have a cup of coffee or have a beer with the volume of talent and fish with a bunch of the guys that have come through here over the years. It's just been, I don't know, it's been a lot of fun and a lot of good faces, good memories coming through that.
Yeah, that's,
And
Now, when
and
you
it
were
was
when you were growing up, did you ever imagine this is what you're gonna do?
I kind of laugh, I joke about it. It's when everybody else wanted to be an astronaut and a fireman, I wanted to be a farmer. And I
Oh
laugh
wow.
as I go back to the joke where my mother is a lot of our friends and acquaintances, including at the last tournament, a lot of folks. My mother just turned 89, and she's a remarkable lady. But I laugh that before internet, don't know how, don't know where, don't know what. When I was just a toddler in we were living in Puerto Rico, and she somehow discovered a toy company that made wooden toys. So all my friends are getting the plastic fantastic, which plastic's really just coming into its own. So I get these wooden toys made, I think in Finland or somewhere like that.
Oh
From
wow.
and one was a set of farmers and stuff. The other one was a set of two docks, a seaplane, and a couple of different sizes of boats. And I kind of joke about that. I still have one of the boats, I think. But I was playing with docks and boats as a toddler, and it's kind of funny that I've been playing with docks and boats ever since, and it's just been a fun
Wow.
part for me. But I would never have guessed that I'd drop the anchor in Golfito, Costa Rica. But it's
That's
been good to me. I met my wife here, raised my family here,
you have two
I
daughters?
have two daughters, Sophia and Isabella,
How old are
uh,
they?
21 and 17. And
Oh, you still need a couple shotguns.
yeah, I keep a couple. I keep a
Yeah.
couple loaded and
Yeah, if you
oiled
need
up
an
and ready to
extra,
go.
let me know. But I can
It's
hook a brother up, man.
it's interesting. And I have to say, fortunately, they're smart like their mother and good looking like their mother, and make good choices. Uh, but it's having young ladies as teenagers and uh, raising them in Golfito. It's presented as challenges, but I give my wife a lot of all the credit in the world. They're good girls. They're really good girls.
You know, you just brought up a question, and this is strictly out of curiosity, because Golfito is that small town vibe. What are the challenges in Golfito?
Uh, it's been really a challenge for me. And I have to say, to some degree, I'm probably useless anywhere in the rest of the world. I've had a scenario where I was so visible for so many years that in with Banana Bay and the business here in town, that you have that big fish, small pond scenario where, I could go to town and forget my wallet for 3 days in a row and eat, drink, buy whatever I need to buy, and everybody knows they're going to see you tomorrow or you're coming
Yeah.
back for it. But you get to know everybody in the community and everybody knows you. But my wife is the public defender in town. And
Ooh,
and so when you were asking about whether I've been who got me out of jail when or where,
it
but
was your wife.
when when we started dating, I had to tell her, I had to tell her, before you read my file, I would like a chance to tell you my side of the story. And
Oh my God,
but
that's fucking hilarious.
it's pretty good. But it's also Golfito's faced its challenges uh, with drugs and narcotics like the rest of the world, and it's
Okay.
it's a prevalent part of this part of Central America has definitely seen some of that. So you see the trappings and the problems that come with that in this community. And fortunately, most of that stuff keeps to itself and is, certainly distinct from yachting for the most part, and not an issue. But the community has had its tough times. I'll go back to not too many years ago where I was running the restaurant at the marina, and it was tough. You see, the fleet had a lot of the fleet had new radios and fresh paint on the commercial boats, and was doing well, but you couldn't buy a piece of fish to save your life in this town.
I know what
So,
I know what
and
that's usually a sign of.
yeah, most of it was delivering fuel in the early days, but Golfito's definitely faced its challenges and has been
Okay.
a transit point, certainly offshore where the boats go by and the semi-submersibles that you see. The Coast Guard's been actually pretty proactive in the last number of years. They've really made some good inroads, and it's one of the blessings of, I guess, if you got to have a silver lining on that part of the industry, is that offshore here, whether you know it or not, Uncle Sam's not far away, or the Costa Rican Coast Guard's not far away. So if you're a good guy and you might be having trouble, help's a lot closer than you might think it is.
Yeah. No, no, that makes sense. Again, I was just trying to. It's always nice to have that small town vibe, and that's me. I,
Yeah.
I'm not a big city person,
I'm
man.
not a city guy. I love it, and I laugh that uh, my oldest daughter, she likes the fact that she has her, opportunity to study in other places, and she enjoys her travel, but she likes Golfito, and it's got that community vibe. It's a small town. You know most people know you, and it's a good group of people. 99% of everybody. It's a great little community, and almost a lot of people are related. So you have to remember that when you don't have a filter sometimes.
Yeah,
but
you can't curse somebody out because you're probably telling their brother or
but
sister or cousin.
uh, so it's
Yeah,
pretty
that's it.
it's
You know, it's funny you talk about the semi-submersibles offshore. I fished the OWC 2 years, 3 years back. I was talking to a local Costa Rican guy, and this is not trying to disparage any kind of political office. I was just very, very curious when this young Costa Rican deckhand, again, I can talk to him in Spanish, and he was speaking disparagingly of President Biden. And I was like, w- why do you have an opinion of our president, whoever it is, Biden, Trump, whoever? I'm just curious because, as I travel, I always like to know where I'm stepping out on just in case. And
Mhm.
he's like, well, because the border's so open, we have a lot of people coming up from Colombia, Panama through here, and they're causing a lot of problems through Costa Rica.
We had
And
it for right here on the road for months on end,
wow,
thousands, thousands. So,
really?
oh yeah, it was visible every day, and you saw it go through the changes in the demographics of who it was. But they actually had to change the rules and run separate buses for them because you couldn't get a bus ticket from here to the Capitol, or you didn't want to be on that bus from here to the Capitol with the crowd that had made it across the Darien. And you know, it went in some of the early phases, it was Venezuelan families and nice, respectable people just trying to find a better life and rolling through. And then you saw a bunch of different shifts of people from all over the planet, but a lot of them being stuck or camping at the border. A lot of them had a lot of tough effects on local businesses and areas like that. Pretty tough. A lot of charity work being done to try and help them out. A lot of government work being done to help them out. But it was disheartening to see them with, and again, not getting political, but
Yeah.
you've got these guys who are getting government help and a free ride through Costa Rica, and they're wearing gold chains and the latest name brand sneakers and carrying an up to date cell phone. And sitting next to them at the border is an indigenous family, uh, just trying to figure out how they're going to get their meal today.
Oh,
And
wow.
so you saw a lot of that conflict with the border and the effect that it had on some of the local business. Not as much in Golfito as at the border, but a lot of people got involved. There were a lot of people muling people and everything from ambulances to cattle trucks to school buses. But there was a lot of people being moved through before they regulated it and made it easier for them to get from point A to point B. That a bunch of that traffic funneled through Costa Rica, and a bunch of it you would be on the street here in Golfito. So
Yeah, yeah. And only because of the fact that you brought up the semi-submersible, it triggered my memory. And this young kid, just again, 23 years old, and just we were talking about something, and he's like, "Blam," and I'm like, "Geopolitics from a 23-year-old deckhand in Costa Rica? What
mhm.
is this?" And he mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, I never thought about that." So once you started talking about some of the trials and tribulations of having a couple of young girls, I was just curious how that affected Golfito. So that's, again, it's, I live in Florida, so I would only see certain things on the news.
Mhm.
But it's different when, especially Costa Rica, it's like a funnel point, man. It
Yeah.
all comes through there. It's not like you got 3,000 miles of border, man.
It was right here in our backyard for a long stretch, and it's definitely tapered off and changed with the administration, but it was certainly an in-your-face scenario here. We were watching it on a daily basis, and
Wow.
it affected some of the outlying towns or surrounding area a lot more than it affected Golfito itself, but it was definitely a factor in this country for a long stretch.
When you say it affected them in
It
what?
it hurt a lot of private business. I mean, there would be 1,000 people or several hundred people camped out on the streets by some of the places that were commercial areas and residential areas at the border. And then as they worked their way north, it became more of a challenge where there were bus stops and areas like that. You would end up with the encampments of people trying to make their process north. And like I said, you couldn't get public transportation because they were taking up all the space. That the government actually made the bus company run separate direct trips for the migrants that were passing through, and then make the regular run to San Jose that the locals depend on a regular basis. We
Interesting.
had the same scenario where I have clients and friends that are being scrutinized because of their passport immigration status in Costa Rica, when there's 1,000 people there that don't actually even have one, and they're being ignored. And
Y-
so it's kind of one of those scenarios where, are you really going to bother my client because he's 2 days late? And so it's just one of those challenges that there was a lot of imbalance and a lot of people treated unfairly through the process. But a lot of people, you know, uh, all types in that group, from good to bad, but it was tough to see, and it got pretty sad towards the end to see some of what was happening and how the that immigration affected a lot of the countries up the line as well.
It's it's one thing when you see it on the news, it's another thing when you see it out your front door.
You know,
Yeah.
I got to tell you a story about the semi-submersible. Seeing how we got on this is that
Come on, give him to me.
the confiscated boats, the Eduardoños and the semi-submersible and everything, they were just piled on the road beside the port captain's office there, on the way in and out of the marina. And so I'm clearing customs with one of, I'll leave the boat and the captain unnamed, but we go by this graveyard of the drug smuggling boats, and there's a fresh semi-submersible painted gray, the triple outboards on it laying there. And I pointed it out to him, and he apparently hadn't seen that style of boat before. And he looked at it and he got real quiet. We're headed for customs, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man? What's bothering you?" He's like, "I think I might have ran over one of those on the way back from a fat trip," because he says whales usually bleed a lot more. And I was just like,
Oh,
oh man, that's a bad day for everybody.
oh
And
my gosh.
but you think about the reality, but that took me by surprise. But he's thinking, oh man,
Yeah. You know
wow,
what?
big and gray and a wash, and he's thinking, yeah, whales usually bleed a lot more. And I was like, oh
Oh,
no.
you know what? I never thought of, I mean, our biggest concern when I was down there was always trees. Because it was, by the time we show up in December, January, it's the end of the rainy season. So by that
Yeah,
time, everything's been flushed out and there's shit floating everywhere.
massive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Running
Yeah.
over a semi-submersible. How much damage did he do to his boat?
I didn't get a whole, I didn't dive into the story too deep, but I think that was one of
Yeah.
those scenarios where had to do some wheel work and stuff like that. Maybe, maybe not, but it was interesting. He got quiet thinking about it for a stretch. So
It's funny. I'm thinking when we were in Golfito, you guys, oh my gosh, what's the name of that? There's a lodge that's up the river. It's on the other side of the bay from you guys.
Zancudo Lodge would
Zancudo
be, yeah,
Lodge.
yeah.
I took our dinghy over there one time, and as I'm rolling through, the glue let go of the pontoon on the one side, and I almost lost the engine. That's a long fucking way. Especially if you're going to have to walk it back. And I remember somehow I didn't lose the engine. I was able to bring it back up, and I grabbed a couple of lines and tied it uh, on those inflatables. They got handles on either side. I was able to tie the two sides together through the engine. So if it did decide to finally rip off, at least it's attached to the two inflatables. And I was able to tie the two inflatables together. Listen, uh, I'm Cuban. I can float back. I'm not worried about that shit. I mean, I
Build
wasn't going to be going 90 miles, but I can make it from Zancudo all the way back to Banana Bay.
classic.
Oh my God, that was such a, we went up again. It's the afternoon. Went up there, wanted to have a couple cocktails, had some whatever snack they were offering. We had a good old time and coming back and almost lost my engine.
You wouldn't be the first one through that stretch.
Oh
So,
my
but
gosh. There was another time uh I had helped deliver oh my God, LR Hastings boat, the Over Easy,
uh-huh,
down
sure.
to you guys. And we had lost steering, I don't know, like 90 miles offshore. And him and I were taking turns running the boat back into Golfito with just engines, no steering.
Yeah.
And we came all the way in. And then a couple days later, he's like, "Hey, let's go surfing." I ain't much of a surfer, but I'll go. And we ran into some gringos from the States, and they were out there, and they didn't realize how many crocodiles come out them river mouths. Hey, man, that ain't a surfer next to you, just to let you
Uh,
know. That's a fucking crocodile.
it's they're really prevalent now.
Are
It's
they?
interesting. Costa Rica passed some restrictions on hunting that were fairly steep quite a few years ago, and you know, I think that the lack of anybody and really out being out and about doing it, but it went from not seeing any at all in Golfito to seeing a number of large ones on a regular basis, and especially what
Really?
you're talking about in Zancudo and the other river mouths, they're prevalent now. And there haven't been, touch wood, too many real incidents or interactions, but it's intimidating when you see the size of some of those dinosaurs.
Man, they make fucking cows look small.
Yeah.
You fucking see a 600-pound cow, and it's like, man, that thing's tiny next to that thing.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
laugh.
swimming out there? No.
One of the guys a while back, and Todd Habib could tell you some stories about shark fishing down by Coiba. But one of the guys was coming up, and he'd thrown a Facebook post on coming up this way, and he's got the lights on at night. They're anchored up, and there's a big crocodile in the lights behind the boat, and a bunch of bull sharks underneath it. And I know exactly where you're at. there's, there's some of those places
Ah,
around
I,
here where
I know that neighborhood where they intermingle.
Uh-huh. Exactly where you're at. You're a few notches down the food chain when we're there. So,
I was talking to somebody recently at my tournament in Chubb. He was talking about we were out in Costa Rica and we had hooked a thresher shark. We didn't know it was a thresher shark. We thought it was a swordfish. And it was great. Typical just sitting on the dock telling stories. He goes, "Yeah, I was fishing with the guys and they grabbed the leader and they're like, oh, it's a thresher shark." He goes, before the word shark came out, two gas popped out, two gas grabbed the shark, and next thing you know, there's a shark in the boat. He goes, it was the fastest thing I've ever seen. It's like, it's a thresher shark, whack, 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 on the boat, sliced and diced. We were eating thresher shark for a fucking week.
gotta love it.
Yeah,
Uh,
listen, nowadays you
uh,
can't do that kind of shit.
no.
Nowadays, all these fucking shark huggers, and I was just talking to somebody a little while ago. Uh, they were talking about their own economic or environmental thing or majigger, and I was talking to them, and I'm like, "Listen, man, I'll help you in any way possible, but I got my own fish to fry." I'm like, I'm being attacked by these shark huggers, environmentalists every day. And nobody wants to take the time to listen to exactly what I'm saying. I'm not a shark proponent to kill them all. I'm just saying our government has to do the right thing and start managing them in a proper way. That's all.
Yeah,
Or
I
do
hear
some
you.
real studies. Just manage shit.
It's it's interesting how few people can, on a lot of times on the opposing side of things, are able to uh, maintain a decent dialogue and hear both sides and evaluate both sides of the story,
Yeah, just listen, have a
both sides of the situation.
conversation.
Yeah.
It honestly, it's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about the podcast. I always invite anybody. They've just passed in the law here, or they haven't passed it yet, but they're trying to. And all these shark divers, they're feeding all the sharks. Oh my God, we're doing research. We're counting the sharks. We're keeping an eye on them. I'm like, you're training a fucking wild animal to associate foods with humans, man. Come on, that's
Mhm.
the most basic. You don't feed bears you
Yeah.
know? And I'm like, man, come join me. I'd love to have you on the podcast. Let's have a conversation. I'm not going to attack you. Let's just have a normal human conversation.
one of the captains that we'll leave his name unsaid because he's been down, you'll know him, but he's been down here as long as I have. And he had a new guy working for him at one stretch. And a lot of mornings, going to the boat early, they would stop by and he'd throw some, fresh chicken scraps to the crocs on the way down to the boat. And the mate finally says, "Why do you do that? Why do you spend all that money on chicken? Why do you go to that trouble?" And he's like, "I don't like digging holes." Case I ever need it. So yeah.
Oh my God, that is so true. That is so true. I'm taking him to the train station, man. I'm taking him to the train station, never to be seen from ever again. Oh my God, that is good. Yeah, I know a couple of guys. Actually, now that you say that,
You
there's a
could
couple
guess
of
who
guys
it
I think down there that might be them, man.
is. Oh, classic.
That's yeah, very, very valid point. Listen, I'm not encouraging anything, but every once in a
No,
while.
well, and I'll be honest, and not having any filter that when my when I joke with my wife about it, but it's one of those scenarios that when the boyfriend comes by the house and things like that, and you have a couple of those dialogues with them, and I just said one of the promises I'll make is that they'll never find your body. So just don't ever give me a reason.
Oh
So
my God. Somebody was talking about protecting family or something. And listen, my bark is way worse than my bite. My
yes.
bark is way worse than my bite. And I was sitting there talking to somebody, and I'm like, listen, if you ever even think of harming one of my family members, I would skin you alive and wear your skin as a fucking coat. I
Mhm.
would literally wear you as a fucking coat, not my family. So I get it. I 100%. And I know me, you know, my
Yep.
I carry my firearm with me everywhere I go. My girlfriend, when we first started dating, she didn't understand the world of Second Amendment and firearms and this and that. She's like, "Would you really shoot somebody?" And I'm like, "Babe, let's get one thing straight. I don't carry this thing to shoot somebody. That's like carrying a fire extinguisher. I hope I never have to pull out my fire extinguisher. But I don't know if I could live with myself if I saw somebody getting hurt and I couldn't help them.
Yep.
I don't ever. I don't think I could live with myself. I think I would be completely shattered after the fact. But
Yeah.
I don't think I could live with myself if I didn't do something.
Yep.
That's the problem. And no,
Pray that you never need it. Pray that you never have to make the decision. But
no, I
yeah.
don't. 100%. No,
Mhm.
I don't want to ever have to make that decision, but
But you
if
don't want to wish you had one and don't. So
exactly, have the opportunity to save someone or several people's lives and not be
yes.
able to do it. No, no, thank you.
Mhm.
No, that's where I have a hard time. So Bruce, we've gone by on our time, and I know you've got an office to run. I really, truly appreciate you joining me today.
Great to catch up with you, Fly. Been too
Man, it
long. So
was it
uh,
was an absolute joy. Thank you. I told you we were going to talk. I knew there
I,
was no doubt in my mind. Oh, Fly, I
well,
don't know why you want me
one thing
on.
before you get away is I just want to say thanks for all the stuff you do for the young guys in the industry and just being there for a lot of the guys that
No,
need
I
it.
thank you.
So
Thank you. I truly appreciate that because like I said, when I talked to Tony yesterday, I've inadvertently I've learned that this podcast is at least the full podcast is being listened to by the young guys, the 18 to 24-year-old kids. And because of that, it's caused me to not just reach out to the fishermen in our industry, to reach out to the support system, guys like you that uh, support the industry to show these kids there's jobs out here. You don't have to go to college. You know, if you want to work, and also show these kids that there's work involved in it. You don't just show up on a stage somewhere with a trophy.
yeah.
You got to work. You
I
know,
work for it.
listen,
Early
what
mornings.
you're seeing with me now, there was a time that I used to sand bottoms and fucking pull props and running gear to pay
Hmm.
for my bills while I was fishing on the weekends. You know, my clientele was
Yeah.
only guys that would pay me to go on the weekends.
Scraping
And
barnacles in high school is how I got my fishing gear and my snorkel gear.
yeah, so I want them to hear those stories because you're not going to go from 21 years old to blam, to the big names in the industries. You got to start somewhere, but don't wait. Start. Go do it.
Yeah.
You know, be the third guy on a boat where you're just making sandwiches, but you know what? You're out there and you get to see a hundred blue marlins in a year, or 1,000 sailfish in a year. Even if you're the third guy and you're just making
Yeah.
sandwiches and cleaning toilets, you're earning something and you're working your way up. And so no, it's very important to me. And I think, again, as a man, uh, I don't have children, but even as a man, when you live in a community, you got to be responsible for all the other men in your community. And hey,
Yep.
man, you're 19 years old. Come on up. Let,
Takes a village. Yeah.
yeah, we're in this together. And there's a lot of young boys. I call them young boys. They're all young men. They're 18, 20, 21 years old. They reach out to me on social media and I stay in touch with all of them. You
That's
know,
awesome.
uh, they reach out to me that, oh, I'm going to college. Isn't it finals week? Yeah. How'd you do? Really? I'm like, yeah. Well, I got a 77. Listen, man, you better fucking study. If not, get a fucking job. You know? If you're just gonna fail your way through fucking college, you might as well fail your way through life because sooner or later you're gonna stand up and say, okay, I got to do something.
Yeah.
So no, Bruce,
Here.
I really appreciate you saying that, and I it's again, it's something that God's given me the ability to talk to a lot of people, and let's try to, and I'm not saying it's Fly's way is the best way. I'm just saying I have no problem helping you along the way. And
Here. Here.
this is a great industry and it's a great community. And unless you're an asshole, you will get pushed out. But if you're a nice kid, you're a nice guy, a nice girl. I know a lot of girls in this industry.
Yep.
And if this is what you want to do, just be a good person. I tell everybody, I can teach you to do anything, but I can't teach you to have a positive attitude, and an open mind. If you can have an open mind and a positive attitude, I'll teach you the fucking rest. But if you just find a way of finding no for everything, go fuck yourself. I'll find something else.
Yeah.
So no, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you joining us today. And how do people get a hold of you if they listen to this podcast and they want some information? What's the best way?
It's bbseas.com is our
BBCs?
yep,
Okay.
bbseas.com is our website, and my cell phone's always on me, and
Okay.
I can be reached on that. We're on the website there. But I don't know if you want the cell phone, but
No, 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 don't put your number on there.
I'll
Listen,
make sure that you have it. You have mine
yeah,
for
I
the
have,
message that you got it.
yeah, no, no, I
But
have your contact info.
if we can help with questions about Costa Rica for the owners or the captains or crews coming down, everything from immigration to the yacht transport. If you need a quote for shipping the yacht down here and you want to know a little bit about the companies, or if you got one already on the way and you got questions about schedule or what's happening where, we'll do what we can to fill in the blanks on Costa Rica.
All right. Hold up right there, Bruce. Everybody else who's listening, I thank you so much for joining us today. I truly appreciate it. And I will catch you guys later.